Thank you, Jake. How's it going, everybody? Awesome. So I have a lot of friends, and they're always complaining about how conservative their parents are. They're like, "Oh, my parents are still big Trumpers," and it bothers them. Like, yeah, I can see how that's annoying, but I have a mom, and she's one of these old liberals. Like, she thinks Joe Biden is Nelson Mandela. Like, that's my mom's political beliefs. That's who she thinks. Like, when he won last year, I've never seen her this happy. She was like, everything in America is solved now. Everything's gonna be so much better. And I'm like, I'm glad you're happy, Mom. I don't know how much is really gonna change, though. And like, she loves Joe Biden. Like, I voted for Biden last year, but like, I don't know if I've ever been less excited to do anything than voting for Joe Biden. And here's kind of what it was like. I'm a Broncos fan. As we know, the Broncos are playing tonight. I've lived in Colorado my whole life, so I like the Broncos. And Broncos' biggest rival is the Raiders. I've hated the Raiders my whole life. And last year, having people, like, they were telling me constantly that I had to vote for Biden. It was like having people tell me, "Hey, Brad, you have to root for the Raiders. No matter what you do, you have to root for the Raiders." And I'd be like, I don't want to do that. I've never really liked the Raiders. Kind of hate them, as a matter of fact. Why do I have to do that? He's like, "Well, because they're playing the Third Reich. That is why you have to." I'm like, the Raiders are playing the Third Reich. I'm like, is there another game on? They're like, "No, it's the only game. It's the only game we've had for 200 years. It's the only game that's on." I'm like, well, I guess go Raiders. There we go. My mom got very upset recently because she's Catholic, I was raised Catholic, and Joe Biden is Catholic. And she actually sent me an article on Facebook about how Joe Biden, he took a trip to the Vatican recently, and it was an article about how the Vatican wouldn't give him communion because he's pro-choice. And my mom, I've never seen her this pissed off before. She was just like, "Can you believe that they're doing this to my boy Joe? Can you believe they're not? He's going all the way over there and they're not going to give him communion. Can you believe that they're doing this?" And I was like, God, wow, Mom. Yeah, when you really think about it, this is probably the worst thing the Catholic Church has ever done. They've done it now, haven't they? And she didn't get that I was going for a joke. She was like, "Yeah, it's just terrible. I can't believe that they're doing this." She's like, "I'm not giving them any more money. That's enough. That's no more." And I'm like, I'm glad you have morals when it comes to something. That's good. Makes me happy. People, I mentioned like the Raiders and the Third Reich. Nazis are a thing again, which isn't, it's not ideal. And they've really seen, the Nazis have really seen better days, though, as opposed to like what's around now. Like Hugo Boss used to make their uniforms, and now it's just a lot of khaki shorts, and they used to be put together a little bit nicer, is what I'm saying. And one thing that always sticks, you guys remember like 4 years ago in Charlottesville when they had the Nazis like marched, and it was horrible. It was like a huge, like basically a mini civil war broke out. One thing that's always stuck in my head about that is when the Nazis were marching, they had this chant that they kept saying, and they kept saying, "Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace us." And I was watching that, and I had to imagine that all the Jewish people who were watching that were just like, yeah, like I'm a successful cardiologist. I'm not taking your job at Discount Tire. I've been a tax attorney for 30 years. You make minimum wage at GameStop. I'm not going to replace you. What are they talking about? I have a job. I work in the service industry, work in a restaurant, and I lost my restaurant job last year because of COVID, so I had to get a retail job. And because I've only worked in restaurants, that made retail like a very professional work setting for me, because it's the first job I've had in my adult life where it wasn't okay to do cocaine at the job. Like every job I've had until that point, it was never allowed, but it was like barely frowned upon. That's the best. A lot of looking the other way. It was a lot of, it's like, well, David has been up all night doing cocaine, hasn't been to bed yet, and if we want him to get through this 10-hour shift today, I guess we're going to need him to keep doing cocaine. I guess no one else is going to come in. Get in the bathroom, make it quick. David, you have 3 tables. Come on, let's chop. It's when crazy things happen in restaurants. I worked at a steakhouse one time, and it was a Friday night, middle of the dinner rush, and our chef has to walk back to our big walk-in cooler to get something out of there. And he walks in on my buddy Leo, who I work with, getting a blowjob from his hostess girlfriend in the walk-in refrigerator. And my chef says to Leo, and I quote, "Leo, how many times do I have to tell you, not when we're busy?" That's what he said. So we walked in, saw him getting, it wasn't like, "Hey, you're fired." That's at least 2 health code violations I can see right there. 1, you're not wearing gloves, and 2, I don't think you can have your penis out that close to chicken and shrimp. I don't think the city's gonna like that very much. It wasn't, "Go home, we'll have a very serious conversation about this tomorrow." It was none of that. It was, "Hey, wait till we die down a little bit, and then come back here and get your dick sucked." I thought you were a professional. My God. It's a Friday night when we're busy. Blowjobs in the walk-in are for Tuesdays when we're slow. Come on. Use your head. Thank you guys so much. Give it up for your host.